Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing you guys, some fans, some friends, some cool people who have submitted their own videos. So these are amateur singers, probably. I have no idea because I've never seen them sing. I do like this song.
Don't be cautious, don't be kind. You committed, I'm your crying. Push my button. Anytime you got your finger on the trigger, but your trigger finger's mine.
Okay, so far the mouth is fairly closed, so my first thing that I would check is to make sure that there's not jaw tension or some reason that it's being this tight. There's not really a pillow of air between the teeth, or is it just a stylistic choice? It's the first thing to double check. It's probably fine. When we go up in the melody in a second, we'll know for sure if that's affected, because if it looks locked up, then that's going to be a problem. That said, she is letting that kind of come down with some of the notes. It's just like the general resting position is fairly closed rather than a little bit more open. So it's probably not a big deal. Another thing, eyes are closed most of the time so far, but she's still being pretty expressive. So like at least we get that, but experiment with opening your eyes a little bit. Cool. So it stayed fairly closed. She kind of flipped when she went up above the G. Up until the G, though, it was fairly well connected. And so even though the vowel was a little bit tighter, you know, it worked. It worked quite well. And going up into that flipped area is a good stylistic choice. It's super common. With this, I'm pretty sure that Billie does it in her original version, where she kind of flips as she goes up. And keeping that vowel a little bit closed, it just doesn't tune the vowel as well to make it a clear sound. So we end up with a little bit of a breathier sound. It's a more shallow sound, but that's an expected sound from a lot of people. And it's not bad. It's just, you know, not as versatile. It's going to be harder to get loud with it and everything. But for this song specifically, like, it's completely fine. You have a few other options too, but, you know, that would totally change the sound of it. So that's just one thing to kind of explore is, does this work exactly how I want it? Or is there a different sort of tone that I think would be better? And the only way that you can really get that is by exploring all of these different options.
Call me callous, call me cool. You're italic, I'm in bold. Call me cocky, but you told me better love me, 'cause you're just a clone.
It's nice. I mean, it is a clear sound. It's not as open as I guess my aesthetic prefers, but if I wasn't watching, I might not notice. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of times when I'm listening to a student, I won't look at them all the time, because sometimes you just have to trust your ear, and using your eyes almost gives too much information, because now I'm just like overthinking it. What she's doing is fine. I really do think isolated with just my ears, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds fine. It sounds really easy. I think it's awesome. I do love that she's not like over articulating with her mouth. And maybe some of that is that it's just not paralyzed, but there's just not very much movement, which is a decent thing. You want to use as little movement as you can while singing a song, while maintaining the same sort of tone throughout. A lot of extra movement, it can introduce strain pretty easily. It's just not as useful, in my opinion.
But you
Cool. I like that. The only thing that I would be like, yeah, let's really, really change is just opening the eyes a little bit more. It's great. You're expressive, but take it to that next level. Like, really, the eyes are such an important thing, and I'm beating this into a wall lately, but it's because every single person I'm watching is singing their entire song with their eyes closed, and it's like, they're so good, but it could be so much better with just a little bit more eye contact. It is that important. That's the whole reason I bring that up every single video right now. That last time when she went up into that flipped place, it wasn't as breathy. I mean, there's a lot of breath getting through, but there's also a lot of clarity. So it's kind of going between that super breathy sound and this really clear sound. And that tells me things are working pretty well. And if you're able to go back and forth between those two places rather than just being breathy all the way through, you're probably not going to run out of air. One big reason that I'm so for these adducted places rather than just super, super breathy all the time is you'll run out of air. But if it's working for the song, that's good enough. And this is absolutely working for the song. I liked it. I thought it was nice. This song. Way to stay hydrated. Yeah.
You had a fast car. I wanna take it to anywhere. Maybe we can make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Started from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we can make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. Out of here, been working at the convenience store. Managed to save just a little bit of money. Won't have to drive too far. Across the border and into the city. You and I can both get a job. Trying to see what it means to be living.
Sounds great so far. The main thing with this, again, is eye stuff. Like, his eye contact, his eyes are open, at least. But it's going back and forth between the bridge and something over here and the bridge and something over here. And it doesn't feel connected to the song in the way that would help. So the first thing, don't look at your bridge. Like, don't look at your fretboard. Just be practiced enough that you don't have to do that. And then we're looking based on telling a story. Because singing is communication, right? And communication is this multifaceted thing. A lot of it is the audio, a lot of it is the actual words that we use, whatever. But we listen with our eyes first, and we pick up all of these nonverbal cues that keep us engaged and keep us super interested in things. So what I'm seeing with this is not very much visually. And one thing that you can do to kind of help with that visual is using eye shifts. I learned this from my good friend and teacher through college, Mark Reynolds, who's been a guest on this channel a few times, and I've done some stuff with his. He's a great guy. But it's the idea that with an eye shift, you want to move your eyes on the last syllable or note of any phrase. So, you drive a fast car, and then you move at that, and then you do the ba da 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 da, and then what you think of when you're moving to look at something new. So you're basically in this imaginary land. You're trying to create this stage around you, or this scene around you, as if you were actually on a stage that was fully produced. And it's like, oh, I see this thing, and what I see right there motivates me to say this next line. So you think about what that next line that you're saying is, and then you come up with an image that motivates you to say that line. Because then you're looking at this image, and it's fake, but who cares? The stronger that you are able to imagine and play with this, the stronger your reaction to that is going to be. So if you say this and then you look over here on the last syllable of the line before, then you see this thing and it motivates you to say whatever that next line is. And this is where you can be super creative. It does not matter what you come up with as long as it makes sense for you. Does this image motivate me to say this? Like, for example, you could see a fast car if you're going super literal with this song, and then like seeing that with one of your friends in the driving it and all of this, like that brings you back to this moment, and then you're going to react to that. You're not going to have a dead face if you're actually allowing yourself to be in that moment. And then us as an audience, is in between that. If he was singing to something behind the camera, we would be right in the middle of it, and then suddenly we're a part of this world that he's creating. And I think that stuff like that is so useful. So his eyes are open, but he's kind of got a deadpan face, and for me that's a really, really big thing with a finished product, because like the voice matters, absolutely, and his voice is in a really good place right now, but you know, there's just that next level that kind of takes you out of it. And I feel like that's one of the big things between amateur performers and professional performers, is just the ability to create this world and invite us in, so that we kind of overlook any of the technical imperfections and we overlook all of these other little things, because it's, at the end of the day, really good communication, and we're invited into that. And so far I'm just missing that little section, and so it's kind of taking me out of it. Guitar is really good.
Man's got a problem. Live with the bottle, that's the way it is. He says his body's too old for working. His body's too young, looking like his. I went off and left him. Just wanted more from life than he could give. I said somebody's got to take care of him. I quit school, that's what I did.
His rhythm is really good. The pitch is pretty good. There are a few little things, but it doesn't really matter. One thing that people will bring up watching this is diction, and that's because it's kind of hard to understand every word he says. And with that, we have the question, how much does diction matter when you're singing pop music? When Ariana Grande sings, I can't understand a word that she says. I like it though. When he's singing right now, I couldn't understand every word. I still like it though. It still sounds fine. I'm kind of an outsider with this a lot of the time. I feel like a lot of people care a lot more to understand the words. It's not my main focus. That said, if he could just make sure that we're understanding everything with speech, try just speaking through that line, or every line of this, and then put that into the song actually singing it, I feel like we'd have just a little bit more clarity. But again, like I said with the last singer, with Amelia, I think that not moving your mouth, not over-articulating is a super valuable thing. And sometimes you have to swing in this direction of kind of under-articulating while you're learning something, and then you can start lightly bringing in a little bit more at a time. So at that case, like the voice sounds like it's in a good place, so let's just make sure that the articulation is a little bit more crisp, just so that we can understand it a little bit better. Not by like really over articulating or moving your mouth or chewing it or any of those things that a lot of people are told to do, but by just speaking it, making sure that you're understood by speech, and then moving your mouth in a similar way when you go to sing it.
To fly away, you gotta make a decision. Leave tonight or live and die this way.
Nice. If I heard that song isolated at an open mic, I'd be like, yeah, this is nice. This is really, really nice. I just would want to make sure that I'm in it, that I can see everything, that I feel invited with that, and that's just a totally visual thing. Like with his voice, there's nothing I really need to change with that song except for maybe the diction. The main thing is really just getting comfortable enough in front of a camera or in front of an audience that you feel like you can be vulnerable in that way and let us in, because when we go deadpan like that, it's a wall, and it's a skill that you kind of have to go through. So I liked it though. I think it sounded really, really lovely.
Outside my window shines so happily on me, but all I feel are cold winds coming over from the sea. And honestly, I've given up all of my honesty to make myself feel better, and I'm sure that you'll agree that the years we spent.
You know what I'm gonna say first. You know it. You know what I'm gonna say first. You know it.
Together they just work so perfectly, but my legs are giving up. I can't return to being free.
I kind of like that little bit of vocal fry that they're adding in. It's almost making it so that they don't over press into anything. So vocal fry doesn't require very much breath energy. It doesn't require very much pressure underneath your vocal folds. And so you can kind of use it as an onset tool if you are someone who does overpress. So with this, we're just getting a really nice balance because of that vocal fry onset. So I'm not hearing too much press, but I am hearing a good amount of vocal fold closure or adduction because it sounds clear. We don't hear a lot of extra breath coming through. And so far this is up to the A, so that's kind of where the first bridge for most treble voices comes in. And when we're singing on bridges, a big tendency is to really under pressurize or under energize or over pressurize and over energize, which results in either pulling chest voice up or completely flipping. But so far I'm hearing it's really well balanced, so I don't hear this massive change in tone that is accompanied by pulling chest or flipping into falsetto.
Please just know that it's been getting harder for me to go on. Well, I gave my heart away to someone else, but you still hold it. And nothing's getting easier, I know that we both know it.
Really expressive eyebrows though. Like it's so interesting because every time that they go into this moment and they get their eyes up from the uke and they're feeling all of this stuff. So like I was saying about the eye shifts, I would almost guarantee that there's some sort of internal eye shift happening or some sort of thing that's motivating this more than just like, okay, I'm singing the song, you know, and you can see it on the face. It's so expressive, except the eyes are closed. So I don't know it just is this next level. This is fine. I like it. But again, just the whole point of this channel is to challenge you to take things to the next level and to be picky just for the sake of being picky at sometimes. Because like, yeah, this is great, but it could be really, really great.
And I've been wasting all my time on trying not to show it at all.
And we also don't see very much over articulation, but I can still understand the words. So that's kind of that place in the middle where you're able to understand it, but it's not like working way too hard. I think that that's really good use of their mouth.
If I fly, then we both fall.
Don't hear really any tension.
Made mistakes I paid for with the last breath that I had. I made
Pretty little vibrato.
regret from all the tears I shed. And now I'm looking back from it. I like to say I'm glad that it's done.
And then as soon as the eye is open, it's almost like the face kind of died in a way. So it's like, they're so close. They are so close.
Well, I give my heart away to someone else, but you still hold it. And nothing's getting easier, I know that we both know it. And I've been wasting all my time on trying not to.
And then the eyes close again and it's really expressive. Just combine the two. Really, really lovely song. I thought that it was a really nice original. It's probably going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day, which, you know, that's good songwriting. It's basic, it's simple, but it is effective. And I thought that that was really lovely. And again, all of these things with the face, if we took away the video, I obviously wouldn't care as much because it is fairly expressive. But if you affect what you're doing with your face by thinking about what you're actually singing to and being motivated by something external to yourself, it will affect your voice in ways that I cannot do by just adjusting the parts as if I'm a mechanic. I look at myself as a vocal mechanic a lot of the time, a vocal technician, because I'm a voice teacher. I say I'm a voice teacher for a reason. Vocal coaches, awesome. I feel like I do a lot of that myself, but it's not my strength. I'm a voice teacher, which means that I teach people how to use their vocal cords, balance everything from the air muscle and vowel so that they're able to create effective, efficient sounds. Once you balance all of that, it has to be motivated by communication. And that aspect of communication will allow you to use your voice in a way that is so much more elevated than you're able to do if you're just focusing on the bits and pieces about how things are working. So with all three of these singers, most of the bits and pieces for these individual songs is balanced quite well. So we just need to elevate it to that next level by really focusing on the acting part of it. And it is acting because you're reacting to things, you are being vulnerable, it's that's the next level for all of these things. Musically and technically, I think that all of those singers were in a fairly good place, and so there's not too much that we need to really change about what they're actually doing with their voices, except for getting them out of their heads so that they're not thinking about how they're submitting this to me, or they're not thinking about how there's a camera right there, and just all of these little things become roadblocks that end up getting between you and the audience. And so the more that you're able to take those down and just be in the moment reacting to something, that's where we get really great art. That's where we get that elevated status. And these are all so close. It's just take the extra time to try to build that up. Another thing about it is it just comes with experience. The more times that you do things like this, the more times you record yourself, the more times you perform in front of people, the more those go away and you're able to just be you and whatever you're singing to, and the audience can then become a part of it. That energy isn't something that makes it harder for you to perform. It's something that motivates you more, and they become a part of it, and maybe it's breaking the third wall and you're actually involving the audience with you. It's just so much better. So that's the next step with all of these singers. Thank you so much for submitting. That was very brave and amazing of you to do. If you're interested in submitting a video for me to react to a video of yourself, please go check out my Discord and my Patreon. This is a perk for people who donate to my Patreon to be able to be included in these compilations. And they're infrequent, and it's not promised that you'll be on, but that's how you can submit for it. And I will get through people in time, because this is a thing that I want to do forever, not just for like 3 months. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and open your eyes when you're singing.